take on the world. We're gonna take on the world. Standing up tall, we gotta make it our own. Give it 100%. We're gonna take on the world. We're gonna take on the world.
Hello, welcome to Buxton Mountain Rescue Team Live. I'm Carney.
And I'm Kerry.
Hello! And for the next 45 minutes, or however long this lasts for, we're going to show you some brilliant educational content and also some very informative films. We couldn't have done this today without the help of Sound Credit TV and also Luke, who's upstairs in the gallery. Luke, can you cut your camera up and show everybody what... Look, there they are. They're all upstairs working away in purple lighting. Don't know why. It suits them. So, we've got a lot coming on tonight. We're going to show, Darren's going to take you around outside and introduce you to some of the people we're going to be talking to.
Hi, thanks Carney. Hi, I'm Darren. I'm one of the operational team members at Buxton Mountain Rescue. What I just want to share with you now is what we're going to be covering over the next hour or so. So, first of all, when we come back a little bit later on, we're going to talk through some of the response vehicles here, and in the driver's seat at the moment we have Andy, and he's going to just take us through in a little bit more detail about some of the capabilities that we've got within our response vehicles. So if you want to come with me into our second, well, this is our sort of primary base. We have two bases. We have one here in Dove Holes, which is just outside of Buxton, and then we have the other base, which is at the fire, which is shared with the fire station and Derbyshire Cave and Rescue Organisation. So a little bit later on, we're going to bring you into the garage and we're going to share some information about what capabilities we have with Crag, and Pete is going to take us through that. Also, we've got Josh. Josh is going to take us through some of the medical capabilities and some of the training courses that we undertake as well. And we have Karina and Rick, who are going to share some of the water rescue capabilities that we've also got as well. So I look forward to sharing all this with you later. Carney, back to you.
Rescue. We're one of 7 teams in the Peak District National Park,
guys.
one of 49 nationally.
Thank you.
And this is the esteemed team leader, Mr. Neil Carruthers.
Thank you, Carney.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, thank you. Yourself?
Yes, very good. Slightly nervous, but then again, I'm not a television presenter. How are you doing?
I'm slightly nervous, but I'm not a television star either, so there we go.
We're in the same boat. So it's been a pretty weird year for us, hasn't it? How's it been as team leader? You've been team leader for 21 years? 21
years, yeah. It's flown by. It's been good fun, but this has been a really unprecedented, unusual year.
Yes.
COVID has been one of those things that just caught everybody unawares, and it's needed us to change everything overnight.
So it's like we've still been operational throughout lockdown.
We've never shut down. The team's never been non-operational. We've carried on right the way through, but yeah, we've had to change everything we do because COVID changed the whole ball game for everybody.
So we've changed the way we train, haven't we? So what are we seeing here?
Absolutely. I mean, what we've had to do is we've had to look at social distancing. We've had to look at how we can get practical subjects across in an understandable way. So here you see we're actually putting it on a casualty. It's the team member's wife on that. And
So
we're going to do everything.
Zoom and
we're
things
using
like that.
Zoom. We're doing everything social distance. So we're now all IT whizzes. You know, we're techno whizzes at having to do all this now because we're having to cut in. We're having to do breakout rooms. It's been exciting. It's been good fun. But gosh, it's been hard work.
It has been hard work, and it's not just the 3,500 Mountain Rescue England and Wales volunteers. It's all of their families.
Absolutely,
and all of their
families. Families. I'd like to thank my wife and my family, everybody else's families and employers as well.
Yeah.
I say the employers are extremely good.
Yeah.
People drop tools at a minute's notice, and the employers just take it in the stride. So I'd really like to thank them. All the organisations that support us, fantastic job.
Yes.
It makes it easy for us to do it.
So, but how has COVID affected the way we respond to call-outs?
It's had to change everything we've had to do. Now, one of the first questions that we ask of the police and we ask of the ambulance service when we get a call is, are there any COVID markers? Is there anything that indicates that this person may have had COVID or maybe COVID positive. When we're travelling to rescues now, the drivers all have to wear masks when they're driving. And again, when you're wearing glasses like I do, that's quite a challenge in itself. When we're treating the patients now, everybody's wearing personal protective equipment all the time. It used to be the casualty carer, but now we all wear it. We're all wearing gloves, we're wearing masks, we're wearing goggles, we're wearing waterproof clothing, which on a hot day is not the most comfortable thing.
Yeah, I remember on one day last year we had 3 call-outs in one day and quite a big unit to carry up the hill.
Yeah.
And with the face mask on, it was really difficult just to get the air in.
It's incredibly challenging.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So we can see here, this is some of the work we've been doing in the last year, isn't it? And just how everybody has to wear PPE. And that's, does it affect the amount of time to reset the kit? Because we have to disinfect everything.
Absolutely, Connie. I mean, basically everything has to be clean before we use it. Everything's disinfected as soon as we get back. So rescues now are taking us effectively twice as long as they used to do.
Yeah.
We take the time it takes for the rescue, and then after that, then we have to clean everything up. We have to make sure everything is good to go for next time. We have extra spares of everything. Mountain Rescue England and Wales has spent over £45,000 on personal protective equipment to issue to team members, and that's just masks and gloves.
Wow,
wow. It's been a...
And that was a call out on New Year's Day, wasn't it?
It was.
Kerry, how can people get in touch with us and get involved in the show?
So if you go onto our social media areas, you can post a question, post a comment. So we're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'd like to make a little mention as well to Rebecca Rose, to apparently 2 little boys here in Dove Holes watching, so welcome to you.
In the town. So there'll be no latency with their viewing. It'll be instant. So what we'd like to show you now is a little film that Luke made last year, or back in the end of 2019, I think, with one of the people, Ollie, who we were able to go to and help after he got himself in trouble. Watch this.
You've got to respect nature and respect what it can do and its power. And for that one day, I completely forgot that. My climbing partner, Lou, we were going for a normal training session. We were going to head up to the indoor wall and do some training which involves lots of pull-ups. And it was a lovely day, so we said, well, screw it, let's forget about it for today. Let's go and do some normal climbing outside. So we went up to Alderley Cliff, and we'd never climbed there before. We couldn't be bothered to get all the kit out and set up, because it takes a good sort of 15 minutes to re-rack all the climbing gear that you need. So we said, okay, well, let's leave that and we'll solo an easy route. Solo climbing is where you have a pair of rock shoes and a small bag of chalk, gymnast chalk, on your back, and that's all that you've got. And then it's your skill, your strength as a climber that gets you to the top with no artificial aids. And in hindsight, it was so stupid. I had to perform a move that's called a rock over, which is where you rock all your weight over onto one leg. And as I grabbed this pinch and pulled on it, I could just feel this little snap. My left shoulder started to peel backward off the rock. And at that point, you know it's going to be bad. I landed right on this hard block of limestone. At the time, we thought it was just a bruised spine or stress fracture, something like that. But it turned out what I'd done, as I landed, my left foot landed first and had completely shattered the heel bone. And then working up from there, the main bit was I broke 3 of the vertebrae in my spine. And that was the biggie.
Fallen climbers can be very badly injured. So there's always the concern about, possibly spinal injury, head injury. But this one is the one that we would really train for and have to put all our training into action.
Mountain Rescue arrived, and everything that they did was so critical to making sure that I kept the use of my legs. If they didn't take care of me in the right way, the consultant said it could have easily caused irreparable damage. I remember that point where the consultant said, after all these scans, he said to me, you broke your back. And that's the bit where you just go, geez, what have I done? All the time through this, the consultants have been telling me, you're not going to make a full recovery. But for me, that wasn't acceptable. So I set about the task of going, right, you're not going to stand for this. And then slowly started to work on muscle strength and building it back up. And by the August, I managed to do my first climb again. And the Mountain Rescue Team, they deserve more than we can say. They should be paid, they should be full-time, they should be looked after. We've got to do everything we can to fundraise for them, to help them, to make sure that they're given everything that they need to keep going out and doing the job that they're doing. The thank you just isn't enough.
Fantastic chap, Ollie, and so proud to have been a part of that rescue and helped him when he needed us most. That's why we do it, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's the reason why we get out there on the hill, hoping there's people like us to help us if I get stuck.
Absolutely. Yes, I'm going to keep saying absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, because that's a serious VT for me. I was there at that job, and he was really sick. He was really poorly, and even though it wasn't a very technical job for us, we just had to package him and get him to the next point where he could go to hospital. It was still a very important job, and the repercussions of that injury, could have been much worse. So very proud to be a part of that. Another person we were very lucky to be able to help with in partnership with our neighbouring team, Edale Mountain Rescue, is Fraser Speechley. Fraser, you there, buddy? There you are.
Hello.
How are you? Good to see you again.
I'm very well, yes. It's a long time since we saw each other, yes.
It's a very long time since we saw each other. Have you been well? How are you?
Absolutely fine. Yes, I've escaped all the COVID nonsense, but yes, I've been well. Just readjusted. Life's changed. I've given up teaching and now self-employed as a builder handyman. So, but had to give up the teaching from the impact of the accident.
I'm sorry to hear that. We'll see some of the footage from that now. Can you talk us through what happened to you back in, it was 2012, wasn't it?
2012, yes. June time, 2012. I was out mountain biking with some friends, and on a very easy section of the ride, and for some reason, I've lost my memory following the accident, following the blow on the head.
Yeah.
Which means I can't remember actually what happened. I rely on what's been told. But the upshot is my bike, when I got it back, the front wheel had failed, which what we think is that it buckled, locked in the forks and threw me over the handlebars without warning, and I landed on my head, which caused the problems. So I was semi-conscious, not doing what I was told, and luckily I was with a group of very proficient outdoor enthusiasts, professional freelance outdoor pursuit instructors, and professionals, and they knew what to do. So I got away with it. Basically, they knew they wouldn't be able to get an ambulance to where we were, and they called Mountain Rescue straight away. So both teams came out. The assessment, I don't know how it was all done, but basically, they'd seen a head injury, possible neck injury. I was semi-conscious, and I was stretchered, and they called a helicopter. Because I think I was fidgeting, or I wasn't doing what I was told, so they had to anaesthetize me. So the first helicopter, they needed an extra person in the helicopter, so they had to send a second helicopter for me. So I'm still being ribbed. That was too fat for the first one. They had to send a bigger helicopter. So, but yeah, so I was anaesthetised. First thing I know was 3 weeks later, I woke up in hospital after being in an induced coma, broken neck, closed head injury, So woke up in what's called a halo, which is hence the marks
I
on the
think
head.
Fraser, I've got some pictures of your recovery there now. There's a couple, I think, of the accident, but also of the halo itself. That looked like a very uncomfortable piece of headwear, if I'm honest.
It was possibly, well, it was one of the most uncomfortable things. You can't really see any details, but where the red dots are,
yeah,
that's actually screwed in through your skin into your skull, and so that has to immobilize your head because I'd broken my I can't remember what's it called.
Was it C1 or something?
My odontoid peg,
yeah,
which basically is what they try and break when they hang you. So it was called a hangman's fracture. So they had to keep my head still, basically. And I spent several weeks, well, yes, felt like a couple of months, but I spent a long time in the halo, basically until I got infections in the open wounds, because obviously they're screwed it through your skin. They x-rayed me again and decided it was stable enough to take the halo off, so I just went into a full neck collar then. The broken neck has been the minor injury because what we didn't know at the time was I'd sustained we knew I'd got a head injury because I'd smashed my helmet, or and I was somewhat dizzy, not making much sense. But during recovery, I found my short-term memory was shot, just didn't exist anymore. So it was unpredictable. So I just couldn't remember the unimportant things in life. I couldn't remember.
You had some bizarre side effects, didn't you, as well? You were telling me something like
I can't taste chili anymore.
That's it. What's that about?
No idea. I can't taste chili. I can tell I've eaten it the next day, but I can't taste it at the time. So I do have to be careful. And if I'm cooking for friends, I have to use packaged chili in a jar rather than fresh chilies because I can't taste it to see how strong it is. I've had a couple of occasions when people haven't been able to eat what I've cooked.
What is the brain? The brain is an amazing thing.
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's absolutely bizarre. It's.
And since I spoke to you, Fraser, up at Frogger Edge that time, how have you been? Have things been well?
Well, I gave up work because I carried on working as a teacher. I was working as a special needs teacher, and I carried on for 4 years. But it was exhausting. I was having time off, repeated bouts of I just couldn't do the job as well as I did. You're assessed regularly as a teacher. My performance went down, and it was just it was too much. I was head of 3 departments. I was managing different staff, etc. It was just too much. So I gave up reluctantly, but I've been self-employed since.
It's fully understandable. I think that when things like this come along in life and we change direction, we have to change direction with the stresses that come with them. Yeah. What is great is that you have your health and mobility, and I'm so proud to see you there today. It's brilliant.
It could have been so easily that it would have been. I was used to working with severe and profoundly handicapped young people, and I could have ended up in a very similar state with no, with very little change in the circumstances. If it wasn't from prompt help from friends and the Mountain Rescue Service, if they hadn't got me sat down and stopped me running around the hillside, whatever it was I was doing, I could have exacerbated the injury I had and ended up, if it had got worse, it would potentially a fatal injury. So it was
yes, it would.
Yes.
Well, I'm very pleased to see you there today, and thanks so much for being part of the show and talking to us this evening. Really, really lovely seeing you again.
Well, thank you very much. And, nice to see you again.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll see you soon when everything goes back to normal, God willing.
Well,
yeah.
Hopefully,
all right.
yes. And thank you to everybody, as well. So, again, pass my wishes on to everybody there and all parts of the team in the service. So thank you.
Will do. Thank you. Thanks very much, Fraser. Crikey, Kerry.
Amazing story, amazing story. He came down to see us at base a couple of years after, and I was in tears, to be honest. I wasn't even at the call out, but it had such a profound effect on the team, just with his injuries and how he recovered. You know, his fighting spirit.
That's a remarkable thing. The majority of the jobs we attend in mountain rescue are for lower leg injuries, but there are the occasional jobs which are more traumatic, and when we have positive news and we're able to talk to a casualty post recovery, it's fabulously uplifting for everybody, isn't it? It really does help us stay grounded. And talking of staying grounded, we've got Darren outside with our vehicles. Darren, what's going on?
Hi, thank you, Connie. Yeah, really inspiring story, really, from Fraser. Thanks for that, Fraser. It sort of inspires us all, really, for doing what we do. So I'm outside now. The sun is starting to set behind us, and where we are in Dove Holes, which is just outside of Buxton, we're in a sort of a community area, and just behind us here there's a park, and we've got lots of kids playing on the park who are actually watching us live on YouTube as well. So to help us walk through and just talk through some of the aspects of our response vehicles is Andy. Now Andy's actually nice and warm in the vehicle, so let's see if we can drag him out. Andy, would you like to step outside in the cold?
Darren, hi
You've
there.
got the heat of this lovely Hilux. So Andy, hi.
Yes.
So how long have you been in the team? Just give a little bit of background.
I've been 20 years this year.
20
I've been 20 years in the team,
Wow.
yeah. Joined in 2001.
What was the sort of the main reason for joining a mountain rescue team?
Right, well, I'm, by profession, I was a firefighter, and when I moved to this area into the Peak District, I realised I might have some transferable skills which the team might be interested in, and I was certainly interested in the team, so joined back then, haven't looked back since.
Fantastic, excellent. So Andy, can you, over the next sort of few minutes, can you just take us through some of the kits that we actually carry on Mobile One, which is a primary response vehicle?
So we've got, this is one of our primary response vehicles. We've got three primary response vehicles. This one's a Toyota Hilux. We've got the iconic Land Rover Defender and the trusty old Ford Transit. Each vehicle is kitted out in the same way as far as equipment's concerned. So up on this shelf here, we have our rescue equipment, our ropes and our tackle for getting people who are injured and stuck on the cliffs and crags, rescuing them down to ground level. We have 2 lengths of rope, 100-metre ropes for the particularly long rescues, long distance crags, and the shorter 50-metre ropes, which is what we tend to use more often because they're more in a scale with our hazard.
Fantastic, brilliant. So you've got different types of length of ropes and different sort of bits of kit, which we'll actually cover in a little while with Pete inside. Just a little bit intrigued to find out what this is. Seems a little bit out of place.
Right, yeah, no, well, this is one of the most important pieces of kit on the vehicle, to be honest. This kit is all high technology, all very, very expensive, but without the people, then the kit's of no use at all. The most important thing that we have is our people. And this is my coffee to look after the inner man.
Oh, that's fair enough, thanks a lot. So we've got a lot of kit in the vehicle, and we're going to go into this kit below a little bit more detail. So just want a little bit more detail a little bit later on. So if we come to the back here, Andy, what do we sort of carry of here in this part of the Hilux?
Yeah, okay. So having rescued them from their precarious position, maybe patched them up a bit with a first aid kit, we're now got them into a better position, but we're still probably in the middle of nowhere as far as the ambulance service are concerned. So we need to get them from where we are to the roadside where the ambulance crew, where we can hand over to the ambulance crew. So what we've got here is our Bell Titan stretcher, and this is a steel-based stretcher, has a wire mesh mattress. It's as comfortable as it looks, which isn't very. So we also have these bags up here carry nice thick sleeping bags, which will insulate the casualty. Any casualty, doesn't matter how lightly injured, they're going to suffer from the cold when they're out in the elements. So putting that onto the stretcher makes it much more comfortable. Now, we could be several miles from the road, and a full-grown adult on a stretcher is quite a heavy load. It takes 6 to 8 people to carry a stretcher, and over a distance that could be quite wearing. So we also have the facility.
Looks like
to
a
add,
bicycle wheel.
That's right, it's a mountain bike wheel, and we convert our stretcher into effectively a wheelbarrow, and then we wheelbarrow our casualties down the hillside to the road.
Fantastic.
And then hand over to the ambulance crews.
That's brilliant. So if we just look at the vehicle behind us here, the Transit
Yep,
in the distance there, could you sort of tell us a little bit about this one here?
Yeah, sure. So this is a more modern version of the Transit. I spoke about the 3 response vehicles we've got. This one is our command and control vehicle. Bernard, bad dog, bad dog.
This is Bernard, this is our team mascot, and normally we do a lot of fundraising on the street collections, Buxton carnivals, Chatsworth, and Bernard he goes down a storm with the kids and that as well, and I absolutely adore him. So yeah, we just wanted to introduce you to Bernard. So Andy, just like to jump in and just take us through a little bit more.
Okay. So as I said, it's command and control. So this vehicle is what we would set up, particularly if we've got a search incident to go to. We've got computers, repeater screens, so we can brief section leaders who are going out to search for our casualties. And the control function involves various radios. We have sets that we can talk to our sections on the hill. We can also talk to the Coast Guard helicopter on these sets. We have another radio scheme which works with the police, ambulance and other emergency services. And finally, we have mobile phones. The vehicle is equipped with a Wi-Fi connection so that we can... yeah, the vehicle is equipped with a Wi-Fi connection so that we can... okay, the vehicle is...
Got it.
Yeah, Wi-Fi connection so that the computers can work quite effectively. Okay.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Andy. So a bit of technical challenge, and the mic and Andy's just run out, so you probably sort of dropped his sound a little bit there. So, as I think Kerry mentioned earlier on as well, we pretty much rely on donations for everything within the team. From the bicycle wheel back on to Mobile 1 just behind, and the whole of Mobile 3 as well. So Andy, thank you very much for that sort of insightful insight. Doesn't make sense, but you know what I mean.
Just give me a load of flannel.
Yeah, just a load of flannel again. Ah, brilliant. Carney, back to you in the...
If I ever need a microphone politely slipped to me, I know who to come to. Thank you very much, Darren. That was great. So our next VT is about a very strong, confident, brave, inspiring lady, okay? Now, some people in the team give up their time, and that's enough. And other people, then in their free time, want to fundraise for the team. Check out this remarkable film.
Bags are all packed now, ready to go for 9 o'clock start in the morning.
It's a mental challenge, so you've just got to break it down into small chunks.
It's called the Spiny Britain's Most Brutal Race, and they were, in my eyes, quite brutal. I think 70% of the competitors this year went and failed to complete it.
it'll be all right for the rest of today. I was just falling asleep on my feet as I just left Hebden Bridge checkpoint. I think that was because it was dark and I only had a bit of a snooze there. Just have a mantra and repeat things over in your head saying you can do it, you've got this in the bag. It's more difficult at night. Obviously you've got to have your head torch on, you've got to look at your feet. It's quite a lonely journey coming along that track because it's just head down and just keep going as fast as you can. And I had a drink and a piece of my mum's Christmas cake, so a bit of home comfort.
Well done, Claire. Oh, amazing, mate.
Well done, Claire.
Oh, you stunner.
Guys, Ned.
Brilliant, brilliant.
I mean, what an incredible achievement. Claire, wow.
Oh, thank you.
What an inspiration. And I watched that film and then decided I would try and attempt this as well.
Oh,
and then there
good.
was COVID. So it's given me 2 years to get in shape. So how was it? It looked horrible.
It was great. It was tough. It threw all kinds of weather at us, rain, really bad wind. Sometimes I struggled to keep moving forward because the wind was just buffeting me from side to side, but it was great.
It was horrible weather. I remember being at home and I'd wake up and I'd look at all your little GPS tags moving slowly up the map. And I remember I've got tiles on my roof and they're all chattering like teeth because the wind was blowing so much. It must have just been, how deep did you have to dig to do that?
Well, I mean, it's 108 miles in length and it's not only a physical challenge, it's a mental challenge as well.
Yes.
You've got to make sure you've got all the right kit so you can stay warm. You've got to keep eating, so making sure you've got the energy levels to keep going.
I love that shot of you like just
Yeah,
trying to spoon something in. Kerry, you know about the spine, don't you?
It was spiny weather, wasn't it? Year before last now, wasn't it?
So.
Yeah. But Montaigne.
There you
spine,
are. What are they doing to you there? They look like they're...
Kit checking.
Oh, good.
Check you've got everything
Good.
important. They're my goggles, so when the rain's spanking your eyes, when you're getting rained on rather heavily upwards your eyes are protected. But yeah, lots of kit you had to carry, didn't you?
Absolutely, you have to carry a sleeping bag, a bivvy bag. You've got to carry means
What's
to be able
happening
to
here, Claire? Because it looks like a waterfall's going upwards. What's happening?
Well, this is when we were going over Kinder in the early stages of the race. And as you can see there, that's the Kinder downfall. But with the wind blowing so strongly, it actually blows the water upwards. So at times like this, it's referred to as the Kinder upfall. And just what you need as you're going along is a face full of water as it blows it right into your face. So you're all kind of quite wet.
Do you think you're some sort of glutton for punishment, or is it like you get a cellular thing? Because we're going to talk to Nigel later about, I think you must have a similar thing, you two, about wanting to really challenge yourself. Is that part of it, pushing yourself to the edge?
Absolutely. I'm only 5 foot tall, so for me it's a good opportunity to see how far I can go. And it's just that challenge, just be able to get to the end and say, yes, I've done it.
Absolutely. Kerry, how was it for you?
Interesting, yeah, weathery, very weathery. I decided to drop out at 33 miles at the M62 when a bit of Wrigley tin flew over my head, and I thought, yeah, I'm going to stop now, I think.
I'm going to stop.
But Montaigne Spine actually help us fundraise for team members, don't they? Because they allow mountain rescue team members to enter the challenge as well, so we can fundraise for our teams, which is what
absolutely
we did, wasn't it?
yeah.
That was fantastic effort.
They've got the MRT challenge specifically for mountain rescue team members to raise money, and it's great.
What is this amazing piece of curved glass?
Ling.
In the form of some kind of trophy or something?
Yeah. So not only when you get to the end you get your medal, but I was the second lady to finish on the MRT challenge. So I got this lovely piece of glassware to go in the cupboard.
Well deserved.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Well, you're an amazing asset to the team, and your strength is an example to us all. So very well done and well deserved. So we train hard, we play hard, and we also do medical things. And Josh and Darren, what can you tell us about what you're up to in the garage?
Hi, thanks, Connie. Yeah, I'm back over in the garage now, thankfully indoors, because even though we've got beautiful sunny days and it's quite warm during the day, it's still getting quite nippy at night, isn't it? So thankfully we've come inside, we've shut the doors, and getting a bit warm now. So, Josh, hello.
Hi, Darren.
How you doing?
Yeah, not so bad, thank you.
So what's it like being live now across pretty much the whole world? Can we have people tuned in from the USA?
Oh, not really used to this. Normally we're just normally working away, aren't we? Volunteering a little bit on the side. Yeah, so it's pretty nerve-wracking.
Fantastic. So, Josh, how long have you been in the team?
I'm just coming up to 10 years. 10 years of mountain rescue, yeah.
Wow.
Seen flown by.
Wow. So, what do you do in your sort of hobby time, if you want to call that? Oh no, so your full-time job, sorry.
Full-time now, I work for the ambulance service. I've been in the ambulance service for 5 years, and I've just qualified as a paramedic now. So just got my registration through on the 1st of April.
1st of April this year?
Yeah, so I've done 10 years of mountain rescue.
Brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations. I honestly didn't know that until just. So brilliant, thanks.
All my training through the pandemic and stuff, so it's had the extra challenges, haven't we?
Fantastic. So Josh is part of the medical training team, and we're just going to cover just very briefly some of the equipment that we carry on the vehicles. And we actually go into these what we call bags 1 to 4, in a little bit more detail on our YouTube channel. But Josh, just very sort of briefly, just for the audience sort of here now, what do we got here?
So these are our response bags. So we need to carry everything that we need on the hill with us, and we need to be prepared for like all sorts of eventualities. We don't want to get caught out and need something and we haven't got it. So they are quite heavy, and we've shared everything out between these 4 bags to sort of spread the weight. In here, this is our bag 1, and this has all sorts of medical paraphernalia. It has the stuff that allows us to breathe for somebody, check their vital signs. There's an AED there if somebody was in like cardiac arrest and they needed to be shot.
AED, sort of a defib?
Yeah, defib. Luckily ours are very, very small, not like these great big heavy ones that you sometimes see in like phone boxes and things these days. We have like all our casualty cars, some stuff to write out with, and loads of protection and stuff as well for ourselves, and also the casualty, loads of drugs paraphernalia.
Perfect. So what
here we have oxygen. So obviously somebody that's life-threatening injuries, or someone that's seriously unwell, somebody that's having an asthma attack, they need oxygen. We can use that as well to drive some medication that we have. Entonox, many people might be familiar with that in the labour suites. So when they have their babies, gas and air is commonly used, isn't it, as a great pain relief. So we carry that.
So what's this sort of other large bag at the end?
And then bag 4 has got all sorts of bits and bobs in it. It's got splints for protecting people's injured limbs, helping us to stabilise those. And it also has a box tent and a CAS bag, a big blanket to keep somebody warm and protect them from the environment.
Brilliant. And that's fantastic. Thanks for that, Josh. So we just want to sort of demonstrate just a little bit of the first aid equipment that we use. And we've got a willing volunteer here. So who do we have on the floor here?
Hi, I'm Delvin.
This is one of our team members, so we're just going to talk about through our splint. So if we have a Kendrick traction device, and this will be used for somebody that's had a big impact, so like a paraglider or something like that, and they've come down hard on their feet and they've broken this big long bone in the feet, what's called the femur here in the thigh. So we're looking at a mid-shaft femur injury, and we're going to use this to help pull the bones apart, because as they've broken, big muscles, the bones might be like this in their body, We're going to pull them apart, be a massive pain relief for that casualty, and it's also going to try and stem any blood flow or protect from any further injury in this area. So we're going to use this big tent pole, and we're going to use traction against the inner aspects of the thigh up here. So we're going to sit that in place, and we're going to use a foot strap or an ankle strap down the bottom. We'd normally expose the foot and stuff like that just to make sure that we can check that we're not causing any damage. And then these straps are going to come in the bottom, and we're going to apply traction. So because this will be broken in the femur, this leg is going to be much shorter than this one. So good to compare. So we're going to use this good leg and look at the length, and we're going to apply traction until they're the same length on our casualty. And then we're going to apply some traction, and we're going to just pull it just so we can see that these are the same length, and then apply some stabilising supports on the rest of the leg here. So just careful with me 1 second, and then this really supports that limb. So I think
The casualty at the moment would be having sort of form of pain relief now and Entonox or something a lot stronger that we carry.
Yeah, so hopefully, it depends on the injury, but if they're showing signs of life-threatening injury, we might need to get this on quicker than we would like. Otherwise, we'll give them some really heavy pain relief, get them comfortable as much as possible, and then we'll apply this nice and steadily just to make sure this injury is stabilised. And we would also call this a big sick for us. So this would be possible helicopter. We need to get this person evacuated quickly.
Fantastic. And just sort of touching on the helicopter, obviously the stretcher sort of rigged behind us, and we're actually going to touch on that a little bit later on with Peter. Josh, thank you very much for that. Really insightful as well. And again, congratulations on becoming a paramedic.
Oh, thank you very much.
So we're going to hand you back shortly to Kerry and Carney back in the studio. And then when we come back here to base, we're going to be looking at the stretcher and some of our crag rescue kit. And also just behind me here is a water rescue raft, and we'll be looking at that too. So Carney, back to you.
Thanks, Darren, and thank you very much, Josh. Josh, I'm so immensely proud of Josh. He's a wonderful young man, and he's just changed his life and his career. He was a technician, he's now become a paramedic. So his job is to go and help people, and in his spare time, he helps people. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Mel, hello.
Hiya, Carney.
How are you?
Very well, how are you?
Yeah, very well, thanks. What have you got there?
I've got one of our 2 drones here.
Let's have a look.
So this is the Mavic Pro.
Yeah.
We've had these about 3 years now. We've got 2 of these. What we started off with when we first started the drone team, with yourself, I'm one of the first pilots that qualified 3 years ago, and we've used this small drone as a practice and to get used to it and to get the feel for drones.
So I can see, is that training?
That is, that's in training, yeah.
COVID safe, very good, very good.
Well, COVID's actually stopped training for a while, so we had a bit of a review of the drone team, which was quite, gave us a bit of breathing space.
Yeah.
And we've got an 18-month strategy now that is going to take us forward. So we've got lots of organised training sessions like this.
Who are you looking for there? Looks like
We're actually looking for a dummy.
Okay.
We have 2 drones, and we split the dummy into
someone
a pair of
who
legs
might
and
also do catering on a train or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's supposed to be a pilot's outfit. There was a scenario to go with it, as there always is with our training.
Yes.
And it was a downed pilot there.
Oh,
in
there
the
you
background.
are. I saw you there.
That was me there.
Double cameo.
Yeah. So yeah, this was a local quarry.
I think that was our deputy team leader's expenditure, wasn't it?
It was indeed.
On a bit of fancy dress. So you can see there, he's... Yes, there he is.
There he is. Pilot's cap as well.
Wow. Okay, well, you don't see that every day, do you?
You don't, indeed.
I tell you what, on the drone team, it's certainly very strange carrying a mannequin around dressed as various things. We had a training exercise last Sunday, didn't we?
We did, yes.
And I had set up the scenario, and it was a fisherman who'd had a fight with another fisherman. So I had to walk around Irwood Lake and with a mannequin dressed as a fisherman and hide him. And it was very...
And then go and collect them afterwards, yeah. That's a bit odd.
What kind of things can we do with these, Mel, that we can't do with other tools?
We can get quite high up in the air and get a lovely wide overview of the ground.
Yeah.
We can also go into places where it might be a little bit dangerous to send either dogs or people.
Like
So,
brambles
yeah,
and stuff? And,
perfect
yeah.
brambles, crags, that sort of thing, water.
Yeah.
You fly it over lakes and reservoirs and things like that. So it's an added tool. It's not something that's going to replace dogs
No.
or anything like that, but it's just
Going to work with them.
going to work with them, yeah. And it'd be
Brilliant.
good for aerial stuff
Brilliant.
as well. So if we're managing a scene of some sort,
Yeah.
you get some really good aerial shots with that. You'll be able to see where people are.
And you've been deployed recently, haven't you?
We have.
Yeah.
Yep. We were originally called out to Walker at Hollings Cross, and just as we got there, the team leader said that we had another call had come in from Derbyshire Fire and Rescue, and they were fighting a fire at Rushup Edge, and wondered if we had a spare drone that we could take up there to have a look at the area and see if it was all out, and see what the size of the area was.
It's just brilliant having
Yeah.
these multifaceted tools that can help different areas, isn't it?
It
It's
is,
really
yeah.
good. What do you like about it personally? Because I know you're very invested in the team and you specialise in lots of different things. What is it about drones that really attracted you to it?
It's the fact that it's such a small piece of kit, but it's, you know, what it can do is huge. This one is sort of our entry level, as I say. There are drones now that can fly in a lot stronger winds and in rain and poorer weather. You can start adding things to them, so we can get lights to them, microphones, speakers.
The only way is up.
Certainly is.
Fantastic. Well,
So,
thanks
yeah.
for talking to us, Mel.
You're very welcome, Kearney.
We're going to show you a short film now about training and what we do. Watch this.
In factor, your priority is saving the life. Happy with that? Yeah.
I think I've actually always probably been quite self-doubting, always held back. Yeah, and actually I think there was a light bulb moment and I just thought, it's now or never, so I just thought, just go for it. And I have, and it's the best thing I've ever done, really, yeah.
My main role, my lead role, is medical officer for the team. I've been doing it now for, I think it's 3 years. Mountain Rescue England and Wales, it sets the syllabus for our training. So therefore it's a nationally recognised qualification. All mountain rescue teams, their casualty carers are trained to the same level. So there should be quite a standard.
The most challenging part of the training, because I'm not actually from a climbing background, was perhaps the crag work and all the skills you need to set up rope systems. I'd never even abseiled before. My first abseil was off Monsell Trail Bridge, so it was like a baptism of fire, but I absolutely loved it. It was incredible. So I've really enjoyed as well learning all the you know, complexities of rope systems.
Although we're volunteers, I do think we are quite a professional organisation, and the training has to reflect that. We do a lot of training out on the hills in all weathers. Cold, wet, dark, windy. There is a seriousness to what we do. The team members could make mistakes, and therefore it's the training we put in to make sure they don't make the mistakes.
So, what are we going to do now? We've decided this person's fully dead. So we're now treating it as a crime scene. What are we going to do?
We train once a week on a Thursday evening. However, I do attend lots of kit check nights on Mondays. It's not just about the training.
Okay, tonight then is the follow-on from the forensics and DVI theoretical training we had before.
Yeah, we are very well respected by the ambulance service, by the air ambulance and the coast guards, and trusted. So although we're volunteers, I do think we are quite a professional organisation, and the training has to reflect that.
Son! Oliver, stop at the mountain rescue, just roll you over. And then we're going to need oxygen and other things we haven't got.
But I think we're pretty good. I'm proud of the people in the team. I'd be confident to call the team out to help me, or to help a relative of mine. Yeah, I'd be happy.
I've only just noticed that he says I'll be quite confident to call the team for a relative of mine, but not himself. But, you know, Dave is a wonderful bloke and the head of our medical team. And Ruth Breeze, who you also saw in that VT, she is now a full operational member. Well done, Ruth. Kerry, what's going on the socials? Anything?
Well, firstly, if anybody's got any more questions, please just put them in the comments below. Anything you've seen you've not maybe understood, we've run through a bit too fast. But the odd little question has come up, and one was about how many call-outs we've had this year.
Yeah.
And the number is, have we got the number somewhere?
Dum, dum, dum.
100
110.
Team leaders just told me 110.
Yeah. Yeah.
110. So yeah, that's pretty good going, really. isn't
That's
it?
pretty good
Maybe
going.
it's been a bit
Yeah, we're up about 20% on a normal year, right? So we train hard, and we have different teams and different specialist areas. One of those is water. Darren.
Hi, Carney.
Hi, mate.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, good. How are you?
How's it going over there?
Brilliant. How are you doing?
I do really well. It's nice and warm. We're back inside the
Good.
garage here. It's nice and warm. So
Why have you got that Lego guy with you?
Which Lego guy? This one here?
Yeah.
We'll talk about him in a minute.
Okay,
we'll talk
fair
about
enough.
him in a minute.
Yeah.
So, hi, welcome back. We're on sort of just over the next few minutes, just briefly discuss or just have a talk around our water rescue capabilities. And to take us through that is Karina, who is our training coordinator officer. So she heads all the training within the team. But before we start that, Karina, just want to ask you one or two questions. You don't know what I'm going to ask you? No, only joking, she does.
No idea.
So Karina, tell us a little bit about how long you've been in the team and why Mountain Rescue?
I've been in the team for nearly 20 years. I wanted to be in the RNLI, but Buxton's a little bit far from the sea.
Yeah,
so, yeah, I do have an interest in water, but I'm also very interested in the mountains as well. And I wanted to do something mainly for the excitement. I thought I enjoy the activities that I do in the mountains and on the water, but if I can take them, you know, to a further level and be prepared and experienced enough to rescue other people, then that's got to be really exciting.
Yeah, brilliant, fantastic. So, a little bit our sort of our water rescue capabilities within the team and the whole of sort of mountain rescuing in Wales, and certainly in the Peak District Mountain Rescue Organisation, which we're all sort of members of within this particular team. So there are three levels that we train to, isn't there, I think, within the team.
I just realised, sorry, I completely switched off to what you were saying.
Oh, I'm not interested. Yeah.
Sorry, live TV. The water
Brilliant live. We'll edit that.
The water team, yeah. So all our team members are trained to what we call level 1 water awareness, and that means that they're safe because we have water hazards and water features in our area, and we know that everybody knows that they can be dangerous and how to look after themselves. We have reservoirs, we have rivers, we have canals, you know, in the area, so we need to know how to behave around all of these. Then we have what we call our level 2, so our water first responders, of which
is me.
Yeah, Darren is one. We have 10 of those, and they're trained to the next level. They would get kitted out like Lego Man here. And this is Rick as well, does have a name. And they can walk in the water and they can wade, and they're very good for searching. So maybe if we have missing people around the edges of reservoirs, they can get in the water and see sort of under the undergrowth that our other team members can't see from the land. They also can do wading rescues, so they might be in the rivers. We've rescued a few people that have fallen into rivers, and also, undertake, like say, searches and so on. Then we have the level 3. Rick and I are both level 3, so we are water.
And Andy as well, who was doing the...
Andy, who was doing the vehicles, is a level 3 as well. So we have 3 of those, and we also get kitted out like this, and we're allowed to swim in the water, and we're trained to work in slightly more technical water. And also, I suppose, what I haven't mentioned is we have floods as well. With climate change, we're getting more and more call-outs, particularly even in our local area, in the Peak District. You'd think it would be, it's not an area that floods, but we do have and have had a number of sort of call-outs to floods to assist the other emergency services in the floods when, all this kit, as you'll find out in a minute from Rick, is really, really important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, Rick.
Yep.
Or Lego Man.
Lego Man, yeah.
So just very quickly, sort of just take us through sort of head to toe, really, what you're sort of wearing.
So this is our standard water rescue kit. I'm in a dry suit made by Northern Diver, one of our suppliers. This is a buoyancy aid, and I have a number of bits and pieces on that as well. A belt kit here with a throw bag. It's one of these. And we use this for rescuing people in the water. We'll actually throw this if you hold the end of the rope. Some people forget to do that. You can actually throw the bag to somebody and then pull them in. And that's quite a simple way of rescuing people. Other bits and pieces I've got here, knife to cut through fishing line or rope. We do a lot of work with the boats and with ropes. And Sometimes we might have to cut the rope if it all goes wrong. The obligatory GoPro, standard part of our team thing. This is a GoPro 8. If anyone wants to give me a GoPro 9, that'd be fabulous. And inside here, in the pocket here, a few bits and pieces to help us constructing rescues. A tape and some carabiners. Brilliant. So the suits are designed to keep us dry, and we wear clothes underneath depending on how cold it is. Put more on if it's really cold. And the suit also keeps nasty chemicals or sewage away from us if we're in floods. And that happens quite a bit, and we need to be protected as well. And if it's cold, I'll have gloves. Helmet, water rescue helmet, also rated for climbing. The red one means that I'm a search and rescue technician.
She's
level three, yeah. And that distinguishes from the level 2s who have yellow helmets.
Same colours.
And the big cheeses who have white helmets. She has a white helmet.
That's it. So, Karina, thank you very much for that, Rick. Karina, tell us a little about that boat you've got there.
The boat. So we call this a rescue sled, and it's a great piece of kit for evacuating our casualties, for putting the water rescue team, so the module 3s, the search and rescue technicians can float on it. Unfortunately, the module 2s can only walk next to it and hold it. But it's great, like I say, for putting team on, but particularly our casualties. With its open back there, we can load them on really, really easily. And there's one location in particular that we've had 2 or 3 rescues to recently, where people have toppled off a path, quite a high path on a sort of rocky embankment, and ended up in the river. And the river's only quite shallow, and the easiest way to actually evacuate them onto the ambulance, the air ambulance sometimes, and sometimes the Coast Guard helicopter, has been to evacuate them down the river, and we've done that on a rescue sled. So it's a really, really handy piece of kit. Also for the floods we were talking about, you know, if you have to evacuate people from their homes, you can get, you know, 2, 3, 4 people on here, and yeah, evacuate them in flood conditions.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Karina. Very, very useful and insightful. And thanks to Lego Man Rick as well. He's actually the team's chairman as well, so we take things seriously here.
Which means Chief Admin Officer.
Chief Admin Officer, yeah. Great, fantastic. Carney, back to you in the studio.
Yeah. Everything is awesome. Thanks, Darren. That was brilliant. And yeah, great work, Lego guy. Yeah, I know. Kerry, how are we doing on socials? Any questions? Anything like that?
We've got a few questions that have come in. One from Isla Rose.
Isla Rose Turner, I know her.
Beautiful little daughter.
Yeah.
Not so little, actually. She wants to know if snow makes it more difficult to rescue people. Especially Peak District snow tends to be slushy.
Yeah, well, I
crampons.
find fresh snow not so much, because you can move in fresh snow. What makes it hard is when you've got compacted snow that melts a bit and then snow on top of that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what kind of tyres you've got then, you know.
We have had avalanches in the Peak District, certainly when it's
Yes,
massive.
we have, yeah.
One on Crowden Clough as well, I think. Crowden Brook, sorry. And then, this is from Rita Lewis, what's the minimum number of people needed for a rescue mission?
What would you like, boss? 20 plus. Now, we currently have 55 operational members in the team, don't we? And, you know, we need most of them to turn out on a job with a long carry, because you need to swap people around. You can't have the same people doing the same job.
Going around obstructions and things like dry stone walls and gates. There was another question as well. Do mountain rescue, this is from Christian Unsworth.
Yeah.
Do mountain rescue carry defibs? Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
They're little, they don't weigh much, which is great.
And thanks for watching. If you're an ex-MRT member from days gone by, thank you very much for tuning in. We're just trying to sort of show how you can use social media these days to help either rattle tins or educate, inspire, to join a team locally to you. So that's why we're doing this show tonight. Now, it doesn't happen very often, but every now and again in the Peak District National Park, there's a national emergency. Well, there was only one, wasn't there, that I can remember. Watch this.
I remember Toddbrook quite well because I was at home at the time, and I got a call from the duty controller, Mike France, who said, got a bit of an issue down at Whaley Bridge. They're saying that the dam is going to breach. Can you go down there and do me operational control? which is basically the operational control is the frontline control on a big incident. So I thought nothing else of it until I got down to Whaley Bridge, and it was like, well, it was like the Mare Celeste. There was just nobody in the village. It was so surreal, you know. And then when I got up to Toddbrook itself, it was mayhem, effectively, because there were so many fire engines up there and police cars and everything else. And it was really when I crossed over the bridge that I actually realised how serious it was, when I looked at how fast the water was coming through and the pure volume of water. And I thought, this is a bit bigger than I thought it was.
We're turning to the UK now, and thousands of people have been evacuated from a small town in England following the partial collapse of a dam that's pushed authorities to trigger a severe flood warning.
The emergency workers have been clear with us. If it were to go, the potential consequences would be catastrophic.
This dam is the only thing holding back Toddbrook Reservoir from Whaley Bridge. It's protected the town for nearly 200 years. Now it's dangerously close to bursting.
In the early stage of the incident, we were there, the fire service were there, the police were there. There were some decisions that needed making straight away. I mean, the engineer was very, very frank, and he said, if you don't sort it in the next hour, it's going to go. It was that serious.
Obviously, in dealing with this, which wasn't in essence a crisis, we looked at what are all the resources that are available to us. And we do have some specific plans around reservoirs, and Mountain Rescue are part of those plans, and they had skills that were relevant to this situation. And you've got to bear in mind as well, we'd still got some people who were refusing to leave their houses. And so, had the dam burst, we knew where those houses were. We would have had to go to those houses to see if those people were still alive. Mountain Rescue, again, would have been part in terms of how could we go in there safely, how can we do that, coordinate that. And they, you know, volunteer to do so. So they come and willingly try to help us to do the best that we can in dealing with this crisis.
The jobs that we deal with, most of them are very sort of relatively insignificant in terms of, you know, the technicality of it. We deal with an awful lot of twisted ankles and broken legs and things like that. However, for that person on the ground, you know, it's quite a serious thing. It's potentially life-changing for them. But we train a lot for the bigger things, you know, and this was one of those bigger things. You don't realise until after, and you think, my goodness, that really was something that I'm never going to see again, hopefully.
This was a real partnership. We couldn't have done it just as statutory partners alone. It was a massive event for policing. So we are stretched, and we really need volunteer bodies such as Mountain Rescue to come and help us to deliver and to be effective in those situations.
The aftermath was, it was incredible gratitude by a lot of people, and you think, we didn't do much, but I guess our not much is obviously a bigger thing to them. We were doing it because it was part of our community. For them, it is their community.
The number one priority in policing is to prevent the loss of life and to protect people, and they do a lot of work to support that. So I would say if you do want to give money towards this charity, it's certainly a worthwhile charity, and it's a charity that we work with on a regular basis in order to protect people.
Brilliant.
She has got click on off hair, hasn't she?
Well, as you can see, that was a very serious incident that we attended along with other teams, mountain rescue teams from the Peak District National Park. And welcome back, Neil. What a huge thing to turn up to and try and manage.
It's one of those things you look at it and think, oh my goodness, did we really do that? But it was a real regional effort. There was Buxton team there to start with, there was Kinder team to start with, we'd got fire and rescue service and the police, but that was it, you know. But we expanded, we pulled in all the rest of the teams from the region, and we basically, you know, averted disaster.
It was, at the time, I remember thinking on that first night, it was so touch and go. There was so much water in the dam. Someone told me that it was kind of a molehill of mud with a little skin of concrete on, but that concrete was all starting to break up. When we were deployed and sandbagging, what were you told about the structural integrity of it?
The engineers were very, very, very frank. They said 50% chance it's going to go, you know.
Yeah.
Then afterwards, when we had the debrief, that 50% turned out to be 80%.
Yeah.
You know, so a 4 in 5 chance that that dam was going to fail. It was very, very close.
It was very close. And right at the beginning, when we started sandbagging it, could you believe what was happening there? It was like teetering on the edge, wasn't it? Water was still coming over.
There was water lapping over the edge. You could see from the stuff that had gone on earlier in the day how much damage had been done, and it was almost like the creaking vehicle at the edge of the cliff.
Yeah.
You were waiting for it to go, so it was just a case of, let's get the sandbags on, let's get it done, and we did it.
And there's one moment as well when
Have
we
you
had
got those
this...
pictures you can show, Luke, of the, there you go. So we've got a few pictures here from sort of behind the scenes. So that was us evacuating
the town, helping the police out. I mean, the police did a fantastic job.
That's a good picture there, showing the damage.
The damage to that dam was immense. It's still in bits, basically, and you know that was the moment that saved Whaley Bridge.
So we put that rope system up, didn't we, to protect?
Absolutely, that was Buxton and Kinder team put that in place.
Yeah.
The fire service would normally do a job like that, but they were a bit busy trying to pump the water out because it was
yeah.
The water was coming in at millions of litres a minute. It really was coming in at a tremendous rate, and the fire service had got in every big pump from all over the UK. The amount of water we were pumping out for the first 3 days, we were just basically keeping it from going over.
I mean, it was an incredible thing to be a part of, and I was amazed that we were as involved as we were and as useful as we were. And part of the reason why we were so useful was because of our rope work, which is one of the things in Mountain Rescue England and Wales we all train a lot in. Darren, what are you doing in the garage with Peter Parker?
Hello, hi, welcome back. And we're here now with Peter. I'm going to sort of like walk back over here, so I'm not too far away from him. And in fact, what am I going to do? I'm going to jump over this side, actually. It's actually rather better. So, Peter.
Hi.
Hello there.
Hi, how are you doing?
Welcome to live. You are literally live on
yeah.
there as well.
Yeah.
So, what we're going to talk about with Peter is just some of the crag rescue capabilities that we have, and we're going to touch in a little bit more detail on the stretcher. Before we start, what I'd like to do really is just ask our current members that we're doing these presentations about a little bit about their history within the team as well. So, Peter, how long have you been in the team?
Just over 40 years.
40 years?
Yeah.
So not too long then?
No, I'm starting to get used to it now, yes.
So brilliant. So what do you do sort of in your spare time, as it was?
I don't. I'll come here. Well, apart from the usual outdoors, as far as climbing, canoeing, just been paddleboarding, that's a busman's holiday as well, because I do that in my professional life as well.
Brilliant.
So, and that's what leads me into having a sort of liking for the crag situations and for the technicalities of ropework systems that we use, and it's a conglomeration really of rigging for rescue, rope rescues, and then industrial access rope rescues and rope work.
So it all
meshes together, and that's how the system that we use has been developed.
Yeah, so over many years, obviously, with the 40 years that you've been in, and I've been in 8 years, and I've seen the development, progress over that certainly short period of time compared to Peter. So, Pete, just take us through a little bit of some of the crag kit that we carry. Certainly now, sort of very heavy crag bag that we've got on the floor just here.
Yeah, even though I've been for 40 years, it quite often falls to me to carry the bloody bag. Yeah. Right. Basically, our crag kit is a combination, as I've said, of climbing kit, standard climbing kit, like protection to put into to build belays in the rock, carabiners, some specialist devices, heavier versions of what exists for climbing, more substantial lowering devices that we use, the ISCD4s. Then we have the sort of ordinary software, as in tapes, slings, and ropes. But most of that is just a substantial version of everybody's sort of standard climbing kit.
Yeah, fantastic. And that's carried on all our primary response vehicles, 1, 2, and 4. And that's probably one of the heaviest bags that we do have to carry on this as well. And we touched on the stretcher earlier on, certainly when we were looking at Mobile 1 with Andy earlier on. So we've got it actually. Pete, just take us through what we've got here and how would we use this in a real life situation.
Most of the sort of climbing accidents in the Peak District normally end up with the casualty on the floor because they're short single pitch climbs. They will normally end up on the floor, which means that we go in, treat them, load them onto this stretcher and then carry them away. But we do perhaps 1, 2 technical rescues a year where we need to fix some belays and some lowering points somewhere at the top of the crag and then have 2 ropes coming down onto the stretcher. The whole system that we've got relies on what we call redundancy, which is basically you've got 2 of everything. So we've got 2 ropes coming down to the stretcher. You've got 2 ropes here for the casualty and 2 ropes here for the rescuer. So basically, if any one part of that system failed, there would still be 1 part to back it up.
So you've got these really the straps here. Obviously, we've got the colour-coded so we know which end of the stretcher they go on. Could this be used, and has it been used to lifting into a helicopter?
Yeah.
Primarily, the old Sea King as it used to be, but now the Coast Guard S92.
Yeah, the whole system is flexible. Sometimes we use this with a rescue strap or a rescue nappy that we use, and all that's the same except for the suspension straps. But with a helicopter, if we take this off, we can just have attachment points there for the winchman to clip their winching cable into and take the casualty away. That works very well in dangerous, restricted places.
Cool.
Like if we're stuck on the side of a steep escarpment, getting them down. If it's a very serious injury, it's probably easier. It's probably better and quicker, better for the casualty if they're evacuated by helicopter.
By helicopter, and what we call sort of big sick. And what we were talking earlier, Josh and Delvin were demonstrating sort of a broken, fractured femur. That was what we would class as a big sick. And ideally, depending on the location, but typically it would be a helicopter, whether that be one of the air ambulances that serve the Peak District or the Coast Guard helicopter as well. And you can see the capabilities of the Coast Guard and where they can winch down to and from by, from saving lives at sea, for example, winching down onto a moving lifeboat. And then, like Pete was saying, in some of the more confined areas, we need to be pinpointing different ways we can do that. So roughly how many, just taking it away from the stretcher and back to you, Pete, because obviously you've got a vast amount of years and experience in the team, which is invaluable. It cannot be replaced. Yeah, I'm getting grey as well now. So do you have any memorable rescues that you have been involved with?
The memorable ones are either quite funny or quite technical.
Yeah.
As I say, we have 1 or 2 technical rescues a year. We were going to, one instance was where we do the safety cover and car parking for the community bonfire night. And as we were driving to the bonfire, we had a call out onto a local crag where somebody had fallen, and it was a very simple climb, but they were practicing a technique for a general mountaineering technique where one person had gone to the ledge, stood on the ledge, the other person climbed up and climbed past them, which is a shorter version of the type of thing you would do on a mountain. They were just out there practicing. And unfortunately, the guy who got to the top slipped, fell off, and then hit the guy who was trying to protect him on the ledge. There was a broken femur. This was at night time as well. There was a broken femur and some fairly serious chest and head injuries with two people.
Two people. I think that resulted in the Sea King. Was it the Sea King at the time that came in? Or was yeah, it would have been because it was just before my time.
I'm so impressed with the pilots flying on that one.
Fantastic.
Yeah. We lowered the two casualties to the ground, and then the Sea King came in and picked them up.
Brilliant.
Fantastic. You know, you think you're going to have just a steady evening directing cars around the around the car park, and then what happens? Yeah. But it was a memorable rescue.
Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Pete. It was actually before my time, and that's one of the stories that I hear a lot.
Yeah, I've been here a bit longer than you.
You certainly have, just a little bit. So thank you very much, Pete. Thanks for your time this evening.
No
and,
problem.
and thanks for the 40 years as well. Okay, that's pretty much it from the garage and sort of social media live from me. And I just want to personally thank everybody that's tuned in tonight. And everybody, there's a massive crew that we've got here, and we've put a load of photographs and that on Instagram stories and Facebook stories. Jump on there, have a look at the sort of setup and that as well. So that's it from me. Back to you, Connie.
Thanks, Darren. Thanks, Peter. I love seeing the old films. We've got some old, dusty boxes, and there's some films in there. And Pete Parker just hasn't changed. He's got a bit greyer, but he's hanging off the back of an old Bedford van in one of the things, and legend within Buxton Mountain Rescue Team. And another new legend has joined our fray. It is none other than Nigel Vardy. Hello, sir.
How are we doing?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate.
Good, good.
Yeah, nice one. What are you doing here?
What am I doing here? I'm president. Don't you know?
El Presidente.
Viva El Presidente, absolutely.
Yeah. Long live the president. Yeah. So how have you become president? Why did you want to become president?
Well, I've been sort of involved in the team just for a few years, more as an associate more than anything.
Yeah.
But I've had first-hand experience of what it's like to be rescued off a mountain.
Yes.
I've had my life saved by mountain rescue teams across the world, and therefore it seemed the natural step to actually be part of a team that I can support in the best way that I can.
Yes. I'm sorry about your creaky chair.
That's all right.
That's not you.
It might be me, actually.
Yeah.
Everything else creaks on me.
So I've got some pictures here of you just being amazing in places. I love that one. You look off to the distance.
Yes.
That's another nice one. That's your climbing hands, isn't it? With tape?
That's what's left. Well, I have to take them up now. If I don't take my hands up, and that's what's left of my feet. So.
That's what's left of your feet?
Yeah, that's what frostbite does to you if you spend a night out in -60.
So what happened that night?
We got very severely benighted on Denali, or Mount McKinley, at 20,000 feet.
Yeah.
We spent a night in a snow hole.
Yeah.
3 of us, we had to spend literally the night, literally freezing to death, under the ground, trying to get through a horrendous mountain storm, which they told us dropped to -60 centigrade in the wind chill. So it's not a place to be. It's not a place to stand out and admire the view.
No.
And we spent an entire night out there, and through a lot of fighting of ourselves and obviously the rescue services in North America, we ended up coming home by chopper, high altitude. Record was set actually taking us off. And another journey in our lives began from hospital from there.
And you were only 30?
30 years old, yeah.
Lordy.
Yeah.
How do you learn to walk again with no toes?
Slowly.
Okay. Yeah.
What you find is that you're stuck in a bed for a long time, and suddenly everybody says to you, by next week you're going to be walking again. And you get really excited, and then the moment comes when you stand up and you're instantly scared.
Yeah.
And you're not scared because you can't walk, you're scared because you think you'll fall over and look silly.
Okay.
And they brought me a Zimmer, a walking frame.
Yeah.
And they just said, stand up, Mr. Vardy, hold on to this thing. They'd taken my toes off 5 days before.
Mm-hmm.
And I stood up, and the 2 physio-terrorists, as I call them, said, if you can walk a few steps, literally from here to, the other side of the room we're in today, that'll be really impressive.
Yeah.
And when I got to the door, they said, fantastic, and took the frame off me. Because what they say is, you'll always rely on that. So stand up and join the world. And I walked 50 yards down the corridor and was chased by a wheelchair and told to sit down.
Yes.
And that was it. It wasn't walking as we do it now. It wasn't walking as we'd go. It was a shuffle, but I was up.
When did you do this?
Oh, Baffin Island. Well,
Yeah.
that was a whole 4 years after frostbite.
What?
I was actually ski touring and trying
You
to
went
climb.
back?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I was back climbing in 18 months. I was
Yeah.
winter climbing in less than 2 years.
So how do you not only recover from something like you went through, but then go back into the... I mean, it's in your blood, right? You can't...
Yes.
You're an adventurer, aren't you?
It's what you do.
Yes.
It what's get you out of bed in the morning. It's what
Yeah.
makes you go and want to do things and achieve. The age-old phrase of, you know, if you fall off your bike, you've got to get back on. And all I ever wanted to do from the first day of lying in a hospital bed was get back on the mountain.
Wonderful. What is it about being on top of a mountain like that? Well, it's just gone, but it was there. But then, you know, there's a solitude, there's an isolation, but there's a peace, isn't there?
There is. There's a very, very beautiful, peaceful feeling to be on top of a peak and to absorb that moment. It can take weeks to achieve, to get to, for 5-10 minutes. But what a wonderful 5 and 10 minutes.
Yes. It's a good thing, life, isn't it?
It's rather useful. I
Yeah,
find,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah. But it's appreciating those moments in life. That's the important thing, not just going through your day surviving.
Yes.
The important thing is to thrive, to find those moments that define you and make you who you are.
I couldn't agree with you more. That is the essence of life, I think. Yeah. Anyway, that was deep, wasn't it? Right. Kerry, what have we got as we draw this monumental 45-minute programme that's actually become 81 minutes to a close?
We've got a few questions.
Yeah.
Similar, the two questions.
Okay.
How to join the team and also who can join the team.
Yeah.
So basically, who can join the team? Anyone. Any adults, but obviously kids could support as well.
Yeah.
We've got a supporter team, so if you're either retired, got plenty of spare time on your hands to help support, but you're not so much at going on the hill and going up the mountains. You know, we do a lot of tin rattling, we do a lot of fundraising. Events like today, we've used multiple supporters, especially Alison Stevens.
I mean, you can have a look at our website. We'll put the details up
Yeah.
there for you. So have a look on there, and that tells you either how to join or get involved with the team if you'd like to help us in some way or any way.
I'd also like to say a big thank you for all the support on our social media channels.
Yeah.
Loads of lovely comments. Thank you very much. Lots of ex-team members, retired team members, and also a big up to who started mountain rescue in the first place. This team started in 1964. We had our big celebration not that long ago now.
Yeah.
But yeah, lots of past team members that are passing on their regards and saying.
Yeah.
It's good.
And thank you very much to Sound Credit TV and all the gallery staff up there. Let's see you lot again. You can wave goodbye. There they are. Hey, well done. You're all brilliant. You're all absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for getting involved. Thank you, Nigel. And thanks to everybody. Have I forgotten anyone?
No, just if you've got any other comments or questions, put them on the Facebook page. We'll get to them as soon as we can. Thanks for your support, everybody. It's been a great night.
Have a great night. Good night.